So I think probably our greatest challenge that lies ahead is the precarious position that we're in as a province. We just experienced a real estate bubble that is beginning to deflate, and our commodity prices are probably, staying lower than we had hoped. So Christy Clark has spent a lot of time, very narrow focus on the LNG industry. Unfortunately, nothing has really materialized out of that. Not a single one of the 100,000 jobs that we were promised has actually come to fruition. And unfortunately, because of that narrow focus, that there was a lot of other industries that went to the wayside, and some just completely left out in the cold. So we've also been experiencing a lot of, really good family supporting jobs being lost in our province and being replaced by low-wage, precarious part-time work. And so we can say that we have, great job creation, but the quality of jobs is making it very difficult for people to make ends meet. And, unfortunately for our local economy, if people are using the food bank, they're not spending money in the local economy. So, that's something that we need to really focus on. And also, some of these really good jobs, the government is actually giving them away. So we're building, ferries, and we're building buses in China and Poland and Germany, and we're shipping raw logs off out of, our province, and we've lost 30,000 forestry jobs as a result of that. So that's been a real problem. And also, just in government itself, that we've seen a $1.5 billion blunder in the ICBC file, and taxpayers are the ones picking up that. BC Hydro, there's 50-year contracts that were selling excess power at pennies on the dollar, and when the NDP was in government back in in the 90s, there was zero contractual debt. Now we're looking at $100 billion contractual debt. So to me, that doesn't sound like a government that's fiscally responsible. So it's certainly a better way of doing things, I believe. And the number one thing that we need to do is we need to ban big money out of politics. Absolutely, that's the first thing, because we need to ensure that businesses are on a level playing ground, and that the competition doesn't depend on government. And we need to make sure that that the decisions being made by government are for the good of the province, not for the good of the pocketbook of the BC Liberals. So the other thing that I think is really important for us is the forestry file. We want to revamp to make sure that we curtail the exports of raw logs considerably, and make sure that those good value-added jobs stay right here in BC. And that's really, it's a key thing for the rural economies. And of course, we have a really exciting climate action plan that I'm really excited about. So we're talking about clean energy projects and transportation. And I think that's a really opportune time for us to delve into that is now. And Clean Energy Canada commissioned a report that showed that it would create 900,000 jobs between now and 2050 and double the provincial GDP. So there's a tremendous amount of growth potential there. But one thing I really want to talk about that isn't getting as much airplay as I would really like is affordable childcare. Because childcare is the second most expensive budget item for BC families. And right now, there's only about 1 in 5 kids that are actually in licensed daycare. So that leaves a lot of kids that are, in places that are potentially illegal, potentially dangerous. And that's a great deal of concern just right there. But the benefits of having an affordable childcare plan are, like specifically to the households, there's that added income that is able to be brought in. But it gives kids a really great start in life. But for women, it actually allows women, as a larger percentage of the population, would be able to access work. They'd be able to actually join the workforce. And also with regards to their career progression. So it's good for families, it's good for kids, and it's especially good for women. But at the same time, it has great benefits otherwise. So for businesses, what it does is that it actually reduces unscheduled absences. It increases productivity in the workplace. And it's just, it reduces, staff turnover, that sort of thing. And for government, it increases tax revenues from the increased economic activity. So we know that it's not going to be, cheap to implement. It's an investment that we would have to put forward. But if we learn from what other jurisdictions have done, we'll be able to avoid a lot of those mistakes that were being made. But Stats Canada has shown that for every dollar expenditure, you actually get back $1.63 in economic benefits. So we know that it will pay for itself, but it's just a matter of political will to get the infrastructure started.